Hey Jeran, I watched your video and I'll do my best to answer your questions, and the best way to answer it was to repeat the observation on a day that had a lot less refraction, and that just so happened to be today. So I went back down to the location and obtained fresh video today. Now this is Bathurst Lighthouse, you can see. The important thing to answer your question is to understand that we're actually looking at hills at very different distances here. This lighter hill that we can see, that's in the foreground. Okay, now that's no more than about 10 meters elevation. The higher hills we see in the background, they're in fact about a mile further away than Bathurst Lighthouse. Now I'm going to have a look at Bathurst Lighthouse in Google Earth and just show you where those hills are. We can use a tool called an elevation finder just to see where the high terrain is. So basically what's happening is from the 30-meter elevation, we're seeing Bathurst Lighthouse, we're seeing the ground beneath it, we're seeing the terrain here in the foreground, and we're seeing the higher elevation hills in the background as well, quite clearly. So to answer your question better, Jeran, I did the observation from 3 different elevations today. I did the 30 meters and the 2 meters as per previous videos, but I also stopped at an intermediate height of about 5 meters elevation, and this is what we could see. This is Bathurst Lighthouse again. Now from about 5 meter elevation, you can see that the hills in the foreground are not visible, but the higher hills in the background, which remember are about 1 mile further away than Bathurst Lighthouse, they are still clearly visible. Now let's have a look at that from 2 meters. And there's the view from 2 meters again. You can see Bathurst Lighthouse, and those hills have now disappeared. You can still see a few of the trees, the higher trees in the foreground, but those hills in the background have disappeared. So let's take a look at where those hills are and why they are actually disappearing from this lower elevation. So looking at Rottnest Island, remember it's quite a wide island, east to west, and Bathurst Lighthouse is here in the northeastern corner. So the foreground, these are quite low hills, and we don't get to the higher hills until we move further west. And in fact, the highest ones are several miles further west where this large lighthouse is. This is small Bathurst Lighthouse. The large main lighthouse is actually over here. So because it's a further distance away, the hidden distance will be greater from the low elevation. So let me just show you on the elevation finder map just where these high terrain areas are. And as you can see, I've just marked a distance here, and that's showing 21.1 kilometers, okay, and that's from the low elevation position. So we'll just remember that when we look at the Earth curve calculator. So if you go to a website called Free Map Tools, you can see accurate elevations for different regions of the Earth. Now this is Rottnest Island. You can see there's Bathurst Lighthouse. If I click on the foreground here, you can see there's the elevation down the bottom. Okay, it's 9 meters, 29 feet. So if I click anywhere in this foreground, you'll see it's really no higher than about 10 meter elevation, and that's the lower light colored hills that I indicated earlier. So this whole foreground is quite low, generally below 10 meters. It's not until we move further west and we hit an area like here. This is maybe a mile further west, maybe not quite a mile, but it's definitely further west. And you can see now we've got much higher ground, 18.3 meters, 80 feet elevation. Now around here, you'll see that it's 21.9 meters. Okay, so these are the higher hills that we're seeing in the video. Okay, the higher terrain. If we go even further, we can see this high ground as well. Now this is not actually in my video, but just to show you that the highest terrain on Rottnest Island is actually much further west than the east coast. Okay, you can see there, that's 45 meters elevation right near the main lighthouse. So that's the big hill we can see. So if we have a look, the foreground elevation near the Bathurst Lighthouse is quite low. We have higher hills further back, and then we have even higher hills further back. So let's take a look at how the Earth curve calculator affects this hill here, this area here, being, as we said, 21.1 kilometres from the viewing position. So there's the 30-metre elevation with a distance of 21.1 kilometres, and you will see we have a target hidden distance of just 0.2 of a metre, so 20 centimetres. That's not much, that's about 8 inches approximately. Now if we go down to 2 metres elevation, you can see we now have 20.2 metres hidden distance. So that's basically the height of the hills here. So you can see why at the 2 metre elevation, those hills to the left of the lighthouse actually disappear. Now let me just play the video. I've got video from 30 metres, about 5 metres, and also 2 metres, and the visibility was better today. We're getting much less of the miraging effect. Hopefully that answers your question. So after watching Jeran's video this morning, I decided to come back down to Avonmore Terrace and Princess Street and just do another video of the lighthouse. Maybe the lighting conditions are a bit different today. So I'm just at the high elevation at 30 metres, and we're looking at Bathurst Lighthouse. Now I've taken the time to level the camera better this time. I was in a hurry the other day and I really wasn't paying that much attention, but it was a good point, so I'll take more care to make sure the camera is perfectly level in future. Just zooming all the way out so you can see the location. Avonmore Terrace, Princess Street, features often in my videos. And there's Bathurst Lighthouse. Now I should point out too, and I'll cover this in the earlier part of this video, is that these hills you can see to the left of Bathurst Lighthouse, they're actually not at the same distance. They're about a mile further away. So when we move down to the lower elevation, the Earth curvature is going to cause those hills to disappear. And I'll show you that in the calculation. Again, just panning left to identify the wind turbine. There it is. And there's Bathurst Lighthouse. So I'll just zoom out, I'll pan around to show you that I'm actually at this location, and then I'll just drive down. I'm not going to walk down the hill again. Okay, so just panning around. There's the street sign with the for sale sign on the house that you've seen before in my videos. So this is the location. I'll just pause the video there. I'll drive down to the beach location and we'll get another video of the lighthouse. So I've just driven down to the park just at the top of the beach at the bottom of Princess Street. And looking across at Bathurst Lighthouse now, you can see that the ground underneath the lighthouse has disappeared. But if we pan to the left, you can see those hills beyond the lighthouse are still visible from this elevation, which I would estimate is about 5 metres above the water's level. I don't know that accurately, but I'll measure it when I get back to the hotel. Just an estimate at this stage. There's the wind turbine. And there's Bathurst Lighthouse. So I'll just zoom out, show you my location, then I'll walk down to the beach. And again, I've taken the time to level the camera accurately. So here we are, here's the park. Just looking back across there is the bottom of Princess Street. And now I'll just walk down to the beach. So now just give me a few minutes to level the camera and find the lighthouse. Quite difficult to see in the viewfinder with this light. The viewfinder is not very bright. Okay, there's Bathurst Lighthouse. And there's the wind turbine. Now again, I estimate the camera height is about 2 metres above the water's level. And you can see those hills to the left of Bathurst Lighthouse are completely gone because they are in fact further away. So from this low elevation, you're not going to see them. Just panning across. So you can see I'm well back from the water's edge, and if you look at the line of those rocks over there, you can see that I'm above them. So it's putting the camera, again, I estimate about 2 metres above the water surface.